What is our obsession with building tiny things? Do you even have one? I know we do. I love all the little bits of detail you get to create. I love the storytelling you can achieve. I love the world you are free to create. Whether you enjoy building an exact scale model to replicate a real place in the world, or kit bash your very own inspired speeder. Either way, you're building something out of nothing. So today in the Smuggler's Room, I think we'll kit bash our own scale model speeder. And we'll have some friends along with us. Yeah, that's coming up. What's up, you awesome geeks? I'm Brian, and welcome to the Smuggler's Room. This week, this chubby geek is going to build something on a smaller scale. We're going to kit bash a speeder from scratch, and we're going to invite several friends along to join us. We put out a build challenge to all the members of our Smugglers Guild on Patreon, and several of them dove right in and said they wanted to kit bash their own. So today we're going to show you not only our build, but all of the members' builds and let you decide who was the most creative with their materials, who had the best story background behind their project, and who was your overall favorite speeder. So stick with us until the end so that you can vote, and let's get on with the build. So, what kind of speeder would I own in a Star Wars universe? Well, that's pretty easy. It would be a cobbled together junk pile of parts and pieces, capable of transporting random bits of junk that I would take back to my shop so that I could build more random bits of junk to trade to a Jawa for even more junk. That's the kind of speeder I'm building. My kind of scratch building is using everything including the kitchen sink. That means sprinkler parts from Home Depot, extra bits from 3D printing, model kit parts, and whatever else looks interesting. There's inspiration and sort of a plan for how I want this to look, but at the same time, it's a blank canvas for my imagination. Now, I mentioned some friends building speeders, and that starts with Thomas. His speeder is made from styrene, foam, and model pieces. His speeder is set in the Mando era, the Dirty Empire. It's a variation of a Hoth type speeder, this one on an earthly water-covered planet that would make it nearly impossible to keep clean. I think it turned out pretty much fantastic. Look at that cockpit. Next, we have the Nerdy Maker. This is a Z-77 super skiff. In the days after the Battle of Yavin, Han Solo, flush with his reward, is off looking for a speeder. He found this one on Spacebook Marketplace. It was used for crop dusting and was very popular with the old school speeder racers. This barn find is totally stock, but a little beat up. A perfect project. However, after his run-in with the bounty hunter on Ord Mantell, yeah, he had to leave it behind. Great job, Nerdy Maker. Now, I find that I'm a bit of a clumsy giant when it comes to scale building. I watch a lot of awesome scale builders like Black Magic Craft, Kathy Millett, and one of my favorites, Boylai Hobby Time. All of which you should check out, and I'll leave a list below. But that said, they're all so delicate, and I bust out full-size screws, large drills, and more. Nothing wrong with it. Use what you have, right? I just find it funny because my shop is full of bigger tools, and when I use them on such small builds, I feel like a big dumb giant. Mongo Smash! Our next speeder builder is Wayne Bacon, and he laid out his backstory like this. We at the Coaxium Kowakian hangar found this speeder in an abandoned storage crate on Hoth. It was once believed to belong to Master Yoda, While we don't know how it got there, we'll be chopping it and modifying it for its new owner, Grogu. What I really dig about Wayne's build is it's almost entirely cut and assembled from scratch with cardstock. And it's those little bits of plastic that are perfect scale for the engines. Thanks so much, Wayne.
Hi, my name's Dennis. Welcome to the Black Market Outpost, where we make Star Wars out of everyday items. Not too long ago, Brian Thompson put out a challenge on his Patreon page for a speeder build. I thought to myself, can I do a speeder build? I've never done anything on that scale or that level. But I figured I would give it a try, and I decided I was gonna do the AC-56. The AC-56 is an Apache helicopter and a 1956 Corvette kit bash. I hope you enjoy the outcome of this build. I had a fun time putting it together.
Dennis, my friend, so glad you went outside of your comfort zone. It turned out great. I can see that speeder drag racing with all the others on a Friday night on the streets of Corellia. Thanks for participating in the build. As a kid, I loved the Star Wars and G.I. Joe action figures. I was fascinated with the vehicles, the playsets, whatever I could get my hands on. But I also thought a lot about how great it would be to design my own. All the different types of vehicles and playsets I could have, and I tried to make a few out of cardboard here and there, but they never really lived up to my expectations. Now I'm 44 years old, in my garage with power tools, and I'm still obsessing over playsets for my toys. I guess some kids never grow up, and I'm pretty thankful for that. Now I'm thinking of this speeder a bit more like a truck, as I mentioned, a way to haul around junk. And you're going to need some kind of cargo area. So I figured rather than that being in the rear of the speeder, it would be more interesting if it was between the cockpit and the main engine. I also found that if you buy a roll of screen material to fix your bedroom window, you can use the leftover for a mini netting for your toys. Just a thought.
Hey, it's Shawn Cash from Trying to Finish Something, and I've never built a model, let alone tried to kit bash something, but this contest sounds like a lot of fun, and I'm going to take my inspiration from Solo, a Star Wars movie, and I'm going to create some sort of a speeder bike for the range troopers so that they can protect the Coaxium. That's what I'm going to do, and let's see what happens.
Good stuff, Shawn. Once again, I love the uses of all the random bits and leftover parts assembled to tell your story. I think of us makers as recycling trash artists, saving the world one piece of plastic at a time. Thanks for joining us, Shawn. The next speeder builder is Tom Hill Jr. and his Wedge Antilles CR8-16 Bug Runner. After the fierce battle above Coruscant, Wedge and his trusty droid Minok find themselves in need of a ride. They lock eyes on an old CR8-16 Bug Runner, which got its name due to the lack of windscreens that usually led to very fast, very close interactions with local insect life. Fast speeders with a built-in astromech slot, Wedge can leave the driving to Minok while he battles the enemy with his blaster. I love the scratch build, Tom, and the story is simply fantastic. Well done. Now, aside from all the model parts, let's talk about guitar strings. Yep, you heard me correct. I learned this bit of scale magic from Boylai Hobby Time, and it was one of those awesome moments when you get to add another bit of scratch building to your arsenal. I love that kind of stuff. They make for perfect little pipes, cables, and so many other things I plan to use in the future.
Hey Maker, I'm Whitey from Whiteys Wicked Workshop YouTube channel. I'm from Pennsylvania. I'm an electrical engineer. That's my full-time job. And I just kind of do this as my hobby. Come down here, take the stress off. I do it all in my basement. I actually took over 1,500 square foot at the basement. And my wife's cool with it. It's all good. She loves what I do too. So I hope you like what I do too. Remnant snow troopers from Hoth. Imperials pulled out and they were left there to defend for themselves. They found some fuel, so they're flying around in their speeder, but they don't really have the necessary tools to fix it up. It's pretty rusty and like dirty looking. They're eating a diet of wampas and tauntauns, if that's any good. All right, hope you like my build.
Thanks, David. Great job, man. Great looking scratch build, and I love the way your basement's coming along.
Hello there, I'm James from the Rebel Base Build. My speeder for this challenge is a Jawa Sand Searcher. It started life as a couple of coffee cans. I thought these would make good boosters, so I incorporated these and a couple of other model kits into a speeder fit for Jawa scavenging.
Bravo, James. I absolutely love all the small details, especially the chains and the BB-8 socket. Your base for the speeder is also top-notch. Great looking display all around, man.
Well, this has been an absolute blast to do. If you want to check out how I built it, I break down every element of this over on my channel.
So in my hunt for tips and tricks in scale building, I ran into these Citadel contrast paints. Now, I'm not going to go into a ton of detail here, as you can find so many episodes and tutorials on YouTube. But I have to say, these are pretty cool paints. They're a bit expensive, but you can see with just a couple of brush strokes, you get both a light and a dark contrast with little effort. It's not a replacement for painting techniques by any stretch, but I can certainly see a place for them in scale building. Pretty cool. I consider myself a pretty hack painter, and this build was a challenge. As stressed as I was that I was just going to ruin this little speeder, the more I went along, the more relaxed I found myself. We're never going to stop room building, droid building, prop making, and all other manner of ridiculousness around here. But I can also see a fair amount of smaller scale builds in the future. As a matter of fact, I see a potentially perfect location in the room build for a pretty massive scale diorama that fits within our universe that we're creating. What do you think? How's that sound to you? Okay, almost to the finish line. Now, I didn't have time to go through and make an all-out display or diorama for the speeder, but I did have this cool little piece of live edge maple. I thought it sort of represented a natural hill, someplace that my trusty speeder would undoubtedly break down and need repairing. I also liked the color and contrast between the maple and the dark of the speeder. So I went with maple as the solution for the display, and I think it works for now. Oh, and if you're wondering about the cool figures, I have the plastic surgeon to thank for that. Check him out on Instagram, link below. He's shown me cool ways to modify action figures. It's fun stuff, my friends. Yep, building tiny things is really enjoyable. I think there are a ton of options too. Scratch building with random junk, high quality resin 3D printing parts, and so many other things I'm anxious to try. Okay, lastly my friends, we want you to vote in the comments below on all of the speeders. Now, we want you to choose by the most creative backstory, the best use of scratch materials, and your overall favorite speeder. Now, we've listed all of the names of the participants in the description below in order of how we've shown them in the video to help you with your voting. And please don't include us and our speeder build in the voting. I want to give a massive shout out to all the Smugglers Guild members and their constant support of the channel, especially all of those this week that participated in the Speeder Build Challenge. We can't do this without you guys. Finally, to everyone watching, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this. We hope each of you in the US have an amazing and wonderful and safe Thanksgiving. And for all of our friends around the world, we hope that you enjoy the rest of your week and you have a wonderful weekend. Now, get out there and build something out of nothing. This is me waiting for the truck outside on the street that's playing a pretty good riff of country music to deliver a package up to the door, and my dog will now bark, and then we'll hear the engine roar as the truck takes off. Nothing to be upset about, but, you know, makes it hard to do episodes in your garage. First world problems, I guess.